All right, so just finishing up on our 2-point drawing here. Um, so we did the roof. We just got done doing the shingles here, but they're not done yet. We just did the first line on there. So shingles are basically like how you would draw bricks, but you do it at an angle. So here's the way that you would do it. You would line your ruler up on this roof angle. All of these crossing lines are going to follow this roof angle, okay? So you want to put your ruler on that, shift it over, figure out how wide you want your shingles to be, okay? And then what you would do is you would actually draw it in every other row. So on mine, I'm going to zoom in here just a minute so you guys can see this a little bit more closely here. Um, when you draw this line, don't draw it all the way through like I did. That's just how I have to do it. But you would draw every other row. So maybe I skip this one, draw it, skip this one, draw, skip, and then draw. And then you want to focus just on those rows that you drew in. So you're going to keep doing that. You have to follow the angle of this, okay? And then go over and then look at how wide you want it. Think of it as like a brick at an angle and how wide you want it to be. So maybe like that wide looks pretty good to me.
Pardon this announcement. Rosters for the PSAT will be outside of the Student Success Center this afternoon, Tuesday, October 15th. Again, rosters for the PSAT will be posted outside the Student Success Center. You may view them during your lunch break.
All right, so you can see I'm just erasing the ones in between. So I'm still looking at the same row and then looking at the spacing of like where I want. And what it is these bricks, as I would call them, or shingles, should get a little bit shorter each time. So I'm looking at the length here. So think of these as individual. So see how this first one's really long? This one gets a little bit shorter, that one maybe just a little bit shorter. And so you're just drawing in every other. Okay, and you go all the way down like that. So I'll just do a few more here. So once again, you always come back to that original roof angle line, come back down here, try to make it get just a little bit shorter. Okay, and what I might do is I might just draw a bunch of these just so you can get the idea that they're getting shorter as they go. Okay, and I'll just do like one more. There would actually be more to do, but I won't draw them all for this example. Okay, so then I take my eraser. So the row that I'm drawing in, that's where I want to keep them. So I'm going to keep these other rows empty. So like I said, you don't have to draw them in erase like I'm doing. When you initially draw it with your ruler, just skip and draw it in every other row. So it'll be a little bit less work for you that way. Okay, and then erase this row out here. There we go. So something like that. So then with the empty rows, what you're going to do, you're going to draw the same angles again, but you're going to try to put them halfway in between, roughly, where you put the first one. So you kind of just eyeball it and guess. So I might put it somewhere like that. And then now I erase the opposite. So now I'm going to erase the lines that were in the row I drew in the first time. And then it creates like this alternating pattern of bricks. But since they're angled, we'd call them shingles because shingles are just angled bricks basically in terms of their appearance. They're obviously made out of very different things, but appearance-wise, I think of them as angled bricks. Okay, and then erase the opposites out here. And so you would just do that all the way down. So I think I'll stop there with the shingles, but basically you can imagine if you filled it all up with that pattern, it would look pretty nice. So you really have to think initially when you make these dots, if you make them super close together, you're going to be drawing a ton of lines. So it depends on how much work you want to do. So I typically make them a little bit wider just so I don't have to draw as many lines, but it just depends. And then you want to continue the shingles onto this roof, you certainly can. So now all of these lines here where you ended, those are your anchor points, just like how we did on the siding. So what you would do is this hole here, you can see the top of the garage all goes towards the right vanishing point. So all these anchor points would have to come out from the right vanishing point. So I would do like here, bring that out like this, and then try it again. Like this. Okay, so this is kind of what this side should look like. Okay, and I'll just do a few more here. So basically all of these lines that I'm getting these shingles on the garage, they're all stemming from those reference points that we created. Okay, and then if you are going to draw the shingles on here, you're actually going to use this roof angle. So you would, do this, you'd put on this side, and then shift it over, and then create the shingles that way. And you would erase every other row and do all that same thing. I won't do it for this demo. Okay, so that's how you would do all the shingles. We did siding, we did all that. Let's add some stuff to the outside maybe. So let's do maybe a road. Maybe this garage goes into a road. So this is kind of like one point where we might just choose one of the vanishing points. We could just draw two lines coming out from that same vanishing point. We could just make like a road on this side, and we can make it like really wide. And then obviously I would want to erase these lines here that kind of intersected. There we go, and I would erase these out here as well. And then I would maybe erase this piece here so it just flows right into the road. So there's my road. You could do the same thing where you draw the road lines on here. So I could just go back to this. And just remember, you want to make your lines really, really long and wide at first. So, something like this, and then that's a little bit farther away. That's a little bit farther away. So they're going to get like smaller and skinnier as we get out here. So, something like that. So that creates that perspective of that road getting farther away. Okay, and then we could think of some other bonus things. So let's maybe try to do like a little mailbox on the side. So let's just do like a vertical line here. And then, or actually no, before I do that, let's do the top of the mailbox. So we'll just do like a smaller vertical line. We'll take the top to both vanishing points. So go that way. We'll go this way, but I won't draw it all the way. I'll just draw out a little bit. Just because I don't want to erase so many lines. So just draw it out a little bit, something like that. Okay, and then we're going to cut it off. So I'm going to say the mailbox is going to be like this, and then it's going to be a little bit longer this way. And then this new corner I made now will go to this vanishing point. This back corner will go to the right vanishing point. The general idea here is that when you're doing perspective, very rarely would you ever just like make up an angle. Like every angle or every line typically comes from something. So you're either drawing verticals, horizontals, or to the vanishing point. So if you're ever drawing something and you kind of just are making up the angle, it's probably not right. If it's an angle not going to the vanishing point, it's probably like these shingle lines where it's like parallel to something else, right? So I know this looks really square right now for a mailbox. We'll fix that in a moment. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the pole for it. So I'm going to kind of pick where I think the pole would go, the middle of it, do a vertical line, take the bottom to the left vanishing point, and to the right vanishing point. It's going to be like just a long 3D little rectangle down here. Okay, so these two angles went to both the vanishing points, and I just go straight up and straight up, some verticals. So there's my pole for the mailbox. Now, if we want to make this more like a real mailbox and kind of round it off, we can. So you could just take like your pencil here, and what I would do is I would maybe just draw, like round this off, like round off the corners, something like that. And then I could take my eraser and erase these sharp corners off. And this line will actually change a little bit. So this will go to the vanishing point here. And then I would round this back end off. And I'm going to have to stop there, unfortunately. I'm almost out of time here. So we'll just stop there, and I'll finish up with one more quick little video at the end here.